In this episode, multitasking inside Apple's iPad, students being spied on by their school through their laptop's webcam, and Facebook is hit with a class action lawsuit over their recent privacy changes. QuickSurf Internet Media presents the Geekinator, talking about all things tech and geek. Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm your host Adrian, coming to you almost live from lovely Phoenix, Arizona, here in Studio C1 at QuickSurf Internet Media. The Geekinator podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Do feel free to head on over to www.techpodcast.com. Also, you can find us online at YouTube, blip.tv, Roku, Boxy, and Vimeo, and a variety of other places. So I've got most of them linked up in the show notes, but feel free to look around online and surely you'll find us out there. Let's go ahead and get into the stories for Season 3, Episode 4. From Apple Insider, there's this really great story. It's entitled Inside Apple's iPad, Multitasking. Now, many of us are aware that, Apple does not allow, multitasking in iPhones and iPod touches, but and even to a kind of an unknown degree, multitasking inside of the iPad. The author of this story, Daniel Aaron Dilger, I'm sorry if I've completely slaughtered your name, has a very good write-up of multitasking, how it works in an operating system, the challenges that you get multitasking in a mobile environment, and what some of the basically the rationale behind some of the reasons why Apple has significantly limited multitasking on the iPhone, iPod Touch, and even potentially the iPad. It's very good write-up. Some of the things that Apple has done to kind of get around that a little bit, and what may be seen in future revisions as things kind of shake out a little bit and they get everybody kind of in the groove of you can't just do anything you want, right? I mean, there will be there already is some level of multitasking on the current iPhones and iPod Touches just to do things like listen for texts, listen for a phone call coming in, to listen for a badge notification on their push system, that sort of thing. So it'd be very interesting to see, what comes of it as they move forward. But I thought this was an excellent write-up of just some of the things and challenges and even myths that people, they get all bent out of shape because they don't have multitasking. It's like, well, do you really need it in a mobile device? I mean, you're going to severely impact your battery life just by doing so. But it'll be interesting to see as things progress how that works out. From Boing Boing at boingboing.net, there's a story by Cory Doctorow, and it's entitled "School Used Student Laptop Webcams to Spy on Them at School and Home." This I find to be just very unnerving and exceedingly invasive, if it's true. These are allegations at this point, but according to the filings by Blake J. Robbins versus Lower Merion School District in Pennsylvania et al., the laptops issued to high school students in the well-heeled Philly suburb have webcams that can be covertly activated by the school's administrators, who have used this facility to spy on students and even their families. The issue came to light when the Robbins child was disciplined for improper behavior in his home, and the vice principal used a photo taken by the webcam as evidence. The suit is a class action brought on behalf of all students issued with these machines. This is just creepy. If it turns out to be true, I am thoroughly creeped out about this. Not only that, but the Cory here points out in the article, and this is an extremely valid point. you should always be very careful about how you treat your information, what gets out on the internet, how you treat that. That very well may come back to haunt you 10 years later, 15 years later, especially when you're a kid. You're going for your first job interview. Your boss says, hey, or your soon-to-be boss says, hey, I Googled you and guess what I found? We're not hiring you because of, something that you did 10 years ago or whatever. You should treat your personal information with the utmost respect and guard it with your life. And doing something like this sends the opposite message. He says it perfectly. Your privacy is worthless and you shouldn't try to protect it. That is the message that's sent with this. I mean, this is really, when I saw the story, I was like, dude, I am so irked over this. It's not even funny. I have to talk about it. You should not ever do that, period. You shouldn't. Privacy is exactly that. Now, if they're going to monitor you at home, that, if they really do want to do that, that should be fully disclosed and understood at the time the laptop is issued. And if the student and the student's family does not agree to it, then they do not get a laptop. Monitoring at school, kind of a gray area, but still, that's just really creepy. It really is. From Macworld, I found this story called Facebook Hit with Class Action Lawsuit Over Privacy Changes. A class action lawsuit has been filed against Facebook over changes that the social networking site made to its privacy settings last November and December. The lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California alleges that the modifications have in reality reduced privacy protections for Facebook users rather than increasing it as the company had claimed it would. Changes to the privacy settings that Facebook implemented and represented to increase user privacy had the outright opposite effect of resulting in the public dissemination of personal information that was originally private, the lawsuit has claimed. So I'll be keeping an eye on this. I am increasingly not a fan of Facebook, just simply because there's a lot of stuff. I mean, when you sign up, they really want you to fill in a lot of information that's very personal, and I'm really not comfortable with the privacy settings that are there. I do have a Facebook page, but I've largely limited anybody I friend there to people I've actually met, i.e. close family members, obviously. People I've met in real life, audience members of the show who have met me, at the Podcast New Media Expo or the Blog World New Media Expo. If we've met if we've met in real life and I've said, hey, hit me up on Facebook or whatever, that's always been available if I remember meeting you. But otherwise, I generally nowadays just don't friend people who I've never met. I don't know them, I just don't, because I end up with all these, friends, and they have access to a lot of my personal information, or what I consider to be very personal information. And, I have no idea who they are. So I've increasingly been less and less happy with Facebook for the simple reason that there's just too much information there that they want you to put in. Now, I could always just not put it in, but, kind of the point of putting it in is so you can share with friends and family members. And that's what I've largely evolved Facebook to, is just for that. That'll pretty much do it for this episode of the Geekinator podcast. As always, I thank you for watching. If you're listening to one of the older episodes, you're listening to an audio-only episode from blip.tv. As always, visit us on the web, quicksurf.com. You can see everything we've talked about linked up in the show notes, and as well as links of all kinds of other ways of getting a hold of me. Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Adrian_bacon. And with that, I will see you on the next episode, and don't forget to get your geek on.